10 of the most emotional movies of all time. The films that makes us most emotionally uneasy accomplish what is arguably the pinnacle of cinema, forging human compassion. Moreover, those tales move us so deeply that we memorize them for years to come. So, are you curious to know about the top 10 most emotional movies? If so, keep watching the video till the end. Here we begin. Number 10. The Farewell. Here's what happened in this movie. A Chinese-American household agrees not to notify their elderly grandmother that she hardly has a little while left to reside. Rather, they schedule an outing to have everyone confidentially say their goodbyes. Billy is taken to the household's determination but plays along to spend her grandmother's last days in happiness. So that's the story. It's so sweet yet very emotional. Have you seen this movie? Number 9. Grave of the Fireflies. If you love Asian movies, then let me tell you, Grave of the Fireflies is one of the best movies ever. Don't you trust me? Well, let's discuss this story. After a mother dies during the World War II era firebombing of Japan, her two young kids battle to endure their own in a vacant bomb refuge, an accomplishment of animations in 1980s Japan. Grave of the Fireflies was one of the initial films generated by the legendary Studio Ghibli, who would go on to develop more upbeat and kid-friendly movies such as Spirited Away and Kiki's Delivery Service. Grave of the Fireflies obtained critical praise and has been rated as one of the biggest war films of all time and has been comprehended as an important work of Japanese animation. Number 8. Call Me By Your Name. If a Sufjan Stevens album independently can make you weep, pause until he composes 2 original songs for Call Me By Your Name, a 2017 film featuring Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer as lovers altered by an experience that cannot last. Have you watched this movie? Or have you seen any clips? I am sure you have, because this movie is bliss. They furthermore spend time in a beautiful Italian villa communicating classical songs, books, and archaeology. The film garnered various accolades for its screenplay, acting, directions, and music. It obtained 4 nominations at the 19th Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Actor for 22-year-old Chalamet. First, let me tell you that Chalamet was the 3rd youngest nominee in the category and won Best Adapted Screenplay. Number 7. 24 Eyes. Hisako Oishi, the new first-grade educator on the island of Shoroshima, strives to look after her learners before World War II collapses Japan. Oishi strives to lecture pacifism to protect the students and even propels her female learners to follow careers outside the house. Sufferings, deprivations, and illness also impact the lives of her 12 young learners as they age into young grown-ups striving for simpler times. The film earned various medals, including the Kinema Junpo Best One Awards for 1954 and Henrietta Award at the 5th Annual World Film Favorite Festival. The movie has been remarked for its anti-war principles. It was modernized in color in 1987. Number 6. Titanic. You're all aware, and most of you have watched this movie, isn't it? Over 1,500 people died after the biggest ship to date crash with an iceberg in 1912. Wasn't awful enough for director James Cameron. He only had to add class battle, a string octet that plays as the ship sinks, and an unfortunate romance that any contemporary critic will say you could have been protected if Rose didn't take over that wooden plank for herself. Titanic accomplished substantial critical and commercial achievements and then earned several accolades. It was nominated for 14 Academy Awards. Titanic was the initial movie to attain the $1 billion mark. It continued to be the highest-grossing movie of all time until another Cameron film, Avatar, exceeded it in 2010. Number 5. Up. Disney has been playing with means to make us weep as soon as the film begins since Bambi's mother was assassinated by hunters, and they achieved this in 2009 with almost the first 10 minutes of Pixar's Up. There's a whole Wikipedia page devoted to how much we were all deeply affected by the movie's opening montage, starring 2 aspiring adventurers who evolve together, fall in love, get wedded, and never achieve their childhood ambition. The movie obtained meaningful acclaim from critics for its screenplay, characters, animation, themes, narrative, and Answers' vocal execution. Up was nominated for 5 trophies at 82nd Academy Awards, achieving 2 and obtained several accolades. Number 4. Marley and Me. Yes, Marley and Me is the one where the dog departs at the end. It's nearly unthinkable to get through without at least choking up one little tear, especially if you're hugging your little furry guy close. But if you expected something happier from this catalog, you're better off with Air Bud or Beethoven. Like any traditional doggy flick, still, Marley and Me has its reasonable share of rambunctious antics, and the tale is loyal in sharing a dog's entire life from a cute beginning to an awful end. Number 3. Loving Vincent. As you call it, the tortured artist, the misunderstood genius Vincent van Gogh's downfall into madness is depicted beautifully in Loving Vincent. This animated biographical drama imitates the technique of his most popular works of art in every frame. Several have retroactively analyzed and celebrated painter with bipolar disorder, sadness, and an epilepsy. Still, Loving Vincent strives to discover the fact about Van Gogh's untimely suicide at age 37. According to his younger brother Theo, his final words were, "The sadness will last forever." Number 2. Precious. Based on the book Push by Sapphire and developed by Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, Precious is the tale of Clarence Precious Jones, a teenager residing in poverty in Harlem. Coming from a vicious home restricted by her incapacity to read or write, Precious is confronted with a concurrent challenge and chance when she proposes to substitute schools. With its serious trip of withstanding and victory, lead actress Gabori Sidibe's achievement is unforgettable. It is glad to know that the movie furthermore landed her an Oscar nomination and a victory for her co-star Monique. Number 1. Brokeback Mountain. Ang Lee's beautiful, passionate western about two cowboys in love on Brokeback Mountain was the main nominee for Best Picture in 2006, but sadly it lost to Crash, which we won't talk about. The poignant tale stars Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal as closeted men in a decades-long connection. Their fascinations for each month meshes against the unforgiving period in which their love was established. Eventually, that fascination rips the two apart, arising on an awful verge for almost all implicated. This is one of the saddest movies on this list, but I am sure you're going to love it. So, that's all for today. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below, and make sure to subscribe and smash the bell icon to get more uploads like this. Until we meet again, take care.